Hello, this is problem 2.3. Um, okay, so I had a lot of trouble with this. I think I spent hours just staring at my screen with problem 2.3. So I'll try to talk as I go as much as possible, but I'm just gonna have to do the code. Um, and then I'll talk it through later because I've had so much problem with this with this particular problem that I just want to make sure that I do it correctly and don't make mistakes along the way. Um, so for three, we are yeah. I've had so much problem with bisection. You'll notice that in problem two, we're going to be multiples of 10. Look at the way you could try and could locally so that the payment. Recap the problem. We are searching for a smallest monthly payment such that we can pay off the entire balance within a year. What is a reasonable lower bound for this payment value? 0 is the obvious answer, but you can do better than that. There is no interest. The debt can be paid off by monthly payments of 1/12 of the original balance. Pay at least this much every month. 1/12 of the original balance is a good lower bound. Or bound, imagine that instead of no, you paid off the entire balance. It would be 1/12 of the balance after having its interest compounded monthly for an entire year. Okay. Yeah, I practiced this a couple times, but I've had so much trouble with it. Um, I'm just gonna start with the variables, I guess. Uh, so obviously balance is 5,000. Annual interest rate. I'm just gonna use annual interest. I think for the purposes of this problem, we understand that it's interest rate and not just total interest. Monthly interest rate, like all the uh, like all the other problems, equals 0.18 divided by 12. So for this problem, it said that it said use lower bound and upper bound to make this problem to make this search process faster, and it said that the lower bound was like a 1/12 of the balance. So we're taking the balance divided by 12, and the upper bound equals the upper bound was it was the interest. It was the balance times the interest compounded monthly for a year. So I'll just do it. So balance times we're compounding the interest, so it's 1 plus the monthly, 1 plus the monthly interest, compounding, which is times 12. And then it's saying it's a 12th of that. Like the lower bound is a 12th of the balance. The upper bound is a 12th of the balance times the compounded monthly interest for a year. which logically makes sense. Um, why the try when your logo said the payment can be any dollar and any cent amount. In other words, the monthly payment is a multiple of 0, so a multiple of 1 cent. The monthly payment so this is another fixed variable. Okay. See, this is where hmm. I'm sorry, I've been having trouble with this problem. So we want to use another while loop like in this one. So we're saying we want to add another Boolean expression here. Found equals false. Okay. While found equals false. Running this while loop. And it's basically the same process, except it's the same process, except now we have a lower bound and an upper bound to account for in our if-else statements, instead of just keeping track of multiples of 10. There's a lot more precision in this one. So balance bound. Hmm. Okay. So we're searching for the smallest monthly payment to pay off the debt within a year. And it looks like the smallest monthly payment is going to be a combination of the bounds divided by 2. Because in this instance, there are 2 things to keep account to take account of. So obviously we do new balance, and then the smallest payment is gonna be a combination of lower bound and the upper bound, and then we're dividing that by 2. At least I think the smallest payment is lower bound plus upper bound divided by 2, which gives us the average. Okay. Now we start the for loop. For I in range 12. I in range 12. New balance minus equals like in 2.2 minus equals the smallest payment, and then we're adding new bal times the monthly interest. Okay. And the interest. Okay. New balance greater than 0. Ooh, trouble with this one. So it says here that we want it payment to the cent. So after updating new balance, we want to go through and say if, and because we're dealing with super small numbers, we're going to do if the absolute value of new balance is between 0 and 0 equal, and between 0 and 0.1 inclusive, because we want it to the nearest cent. It can be 1 cent. Ooh, is that right though? Um, da. Yeah, I'm having trouble with bisection search here. New balance. So we're updating. So this is after updating the new balance. and we're saying if it's between 0 and 0.1, inclusive of 0.1, because it can be 1 cent, we're saying do we want, if it's between this, if it's between we want, oh no, okay, I see. So if it's between this, if it's between 0 and 0.1, like if the absolute value of the new balance is between that, we found the minimum payment. So found equals true. So now what we're doing is we're saying else if oh no, sorry. Else if new balance, like if it's negative, we want, like if it's negative, we want the upper, it's negative. So okay, so the lower bound balance divided by 12. Upper bound is the balance times compounded interest. And range balance. New balance is less than. So we're saying if it if it's negative, I see. So we're saying if it's obviously if the new balance is negative, the smallest payment we're making the upper bounds. Wait, if it's negative, upper bound becomes the new smallest payment because we've gone too far. Okay. Else if new bal is greater than, that means that the lower bound so if the new balance is if the new balance is less than, the smallest payment has gone too far. If it's greater than the upper bound, then the smallest payment according to the lower bound, sorry, the upper bound isn't enough. Right? And so we're basically saying once we've passed through all these conditions, go back to the for loop. If the new balance is between these two values to the nearest cent, found equals true. Found equals true, and we want to print monthly payment round payment to 2. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot Python is elif. Oh, what is this? Not printing. Hmm. Confused. I don't know why it's not. Well, found is false. New balance equals balance. Smallest payment equals obviously the lower bound plus the upper bound divided by 2. New balance equals the smallest. New balance minus equals the smallest payment. So we're subtracting the payment, and then we're adding the interest. Hmm. Maybe the loop's just not stopping. Print. Why is it printing this? I just want to see where we're not printing anything. The loop's not breaking. Maybe it's because of the upper and lower bounds. Maybe because of the upper and lower bounds, it's running through an infinite loop and it's not stopping. Wait. Yeah, that's because that's a Java. I was gonna see if I could simplify that, but it's a Java thing. Okay. Yeah, maybe because the upper the upper bound is so high, it's just running through an infinite loop and not breaking, but I don't know how to break it. Payments. Yeah, I'm not sure. I just want to test it out by adding a counter here. Updating the count variable, time, and if the count is greater than, like, let's say 50, we're breaking. Wait, what just happened? Break. Like, what's happening? This is too much? Too little? Hmm. Oh, I see, I see. Here, we want to increment I. No, what? And then 12, new balance equals balance. Huh? Oh, wait. Oh, no, 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 sorry. That doesn't even make sense for that to be there. What am I doing? So this is going here. It's... Oh. It's not even printing the... It's not printing anything. I've added the counter to break the while loop after a certain amount of increments. I don't know if it's like this. No, that doesn't matter. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Times cost monthly payments. If 0 between and I don't know why this would affect it, but that's the only thing I could think of. Between, maybe it's just not recognizing it's two different bounds. Greater than 2. Yeah, it doesn't matter. If new balance less than -1 upper bound equals smallest minimum payment. Yeah, I have no idea. Just not break. So I've added this to break it, and it's still not working. So I guess that's not the problem. I don't know. Smallest payment. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. There's my code for it, and I'm not sure why it's not printing. I've added a counter to automatically break the loop after a certain point, and that didn't seem to work. I have no idea. I'm not sure. I'll have to just turn it in like that.